Morning Huddle right here on KATX 97.7. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Jerry Slavin along with Coach Cliff Watkins live from First Financial Bank. And we have pizza. If you're driving down the interstate, if you're driving around town, come on in. Trent says he has all the pizza you can eat. So, and there's more where that came from. But it is a Wednesday edition of Morning Huddle due to the 2 p.m. start on Friday, Coach. And first of all, let's talk about last week. Man, what a great ball game. Just, I mean, everything that you think about that. I mean, the crowd, everything was just fantastic. So, 38-28 win over Coleman.
It was a great atmosphere. A lot of fans from Coleman and Eastland, and our crowd was great. A lot of energy, and we came out and played a good game, and was able to take care of the football and force some turnovers on defense, and that was huge and probably the difference in the ball game. But came out and played the best we've played in a few weeks on both sides of the ball.
Starting off, Coleman wins the toss. They elect to receive the football. And, of course, they're back, and he was the real deal. He showed it on the second series, but he's not a fumbler, hadn't fumbled a whole lot this season. He coughs up the ball, we get it back, unable to put in the end zone, but we get to put 3 points on the board, and that was huge.
Right. Got a couple first downs, and then got stopped, and Juan went out and kicked it through. It was good protection and good kick, but like you said, it's good to get on the board early and take the early lead and play from there.
5 lead changes in the first half. The next series, they have, I think, if I remember correctly, it was 50-some-odd yard touchdown run. And then it just right up the middle. In that play, they ran it one other time and got about 9 yards, and then we closed it down. But the one play that didn't work for Coleman at all was that fake toss to the tailback and going to the fullback. We stood him up all night long.
Right. And Coach Fambro and the defensive staff did a great job preparing, and we worked that all week, and we're able to stop that particular play because they've had a lot of success on that play all year long. Because there's going to be a lot of people flowing at the sweep when you're turning around and tossing to their number 6. He was a really good football player.
Really good football player. Offensively for the Mavericks, very nice. Josh had a nice return coming back in. Ran for over 100 yards, threw for over 100 yards. Great job there. One thing that I was really impressed with was the fact that having been out for so long, running that option play on the outside, I know 2 times it was just perfect. Converted third downs for first downs. If he doesn't toss it, we probably don't make the first down. And the timing was perfect, and he and Chris really hooked up well on that. And that's pretty good after having been out as long as he's been.
It is, and it was good. He came back and played a good game, but the last couple of weeks he had been released to do some things, and so he's been able to work on those things for the last couple of weeks. And the option was one of our better plays early in the year, and him and Chris do a really good job on the option, staying in pitch relation, and he's going to make the guy commit before he's going to get rid of it. And those were 2 key third down conversions.
Speaking of Chris. 21 carries, 75 yards, and a lot of those coming on that last drive. And how impressive was that, Coach? And if I remember, I think it was 7:20 left on the clock or somewhere around that whenever we got the ball back in the fourth quarter. They cut it to a 10-point game. Their defense is hoping to make a stop and get the ball back, and we just methodically marched it down the field. And, could have scored another touchdown, but got it inside the 5 with a minute. Something to go on. We could go into victory formation, kneel out the clock.
Right, and that was huge, and that's what we talked about. That's you win playoff games this time of year with playing great defense and being able to run the football when you have to run the football. And that was probably one of the things I was most proud of Friday night. We played great defense, gave up a couple big plays, but other than the few big plays, and with an explosive offense like that, that's going to happen here and there. But for the most part, defense stepped up, played another great ball game. And then, we fumbled a punt. It was 38-21 and fumbled a punt. If we filled that punt, maybe we go score and put it away. And Matt, he's done a great job fielding punts all year. That's not something that Matt does. But they were able to get that and they'll convert it into a touchdown. And so, like you said, now it's a 10-point game with about 7.5 minutes left. And we told them we're going to run it right at them, and they know that we're about to run the ball. We just got to want it more than them. And we've got to be the more physical team up front, and we were able to move the ball down the field, like you said, get one more first down inside the 5-yard line, and finally we're able to take a knee on about the 3-yard line to finish off the game.
Defensively, a great game. You look at his numbers, George Atchison didn't have a whole lot of tackles, but he had one of the biggest tackles the other night when he had that sack back there. And it just like that hand came out of nowhere and just grabbed a hold and brought him down. But he had a great job. Dylan Miller, the defense as a whole, just a fantastic job. And Evan Wren and I talked about it at halftime that, their back was going to get his yards. The thing was limiting the big plays, and we only gave up the one big play to him.
Right.
And I think he ended the night with 100 and some odd yards, and he's been accustomed to 2, 3. He even had a 400-yard rushing game earlier in the season. So, a great job by the defense. And as the game went on, you could just see the life in the players getting brighter and brighter and brighter as they knew what was happening. I mean, the defense was swarming through the football all night long.
Right, and that's what we preached all week. They hadn't been in a close ball game, and they hadn't had to play in the fourth quarter, and so that was to our advantage. And we knew we were going to have to hit them often, hit them early, and hit them often, and we did. And we're able to get a lot of hats to the ball, and that punishment, got to them and kept on and kept on. And then by the time we got to the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, it was starting to wear on them a little bit, And once again, I thought we played a very physical football game, and we're the most physical team, and that's the reason we were able to get all those stops, and that's what we've built our defense on all year long, is getting a lot of hats to the ball, and letting them know when we get there.
You probably gathered this over the course of the season. I'm a big fan of the kicking game, especially at small schools. A lot of small schools do not have a kicking, a game per se. And not only do we have a kicking game, we have options at the kicking game. J.R. Fullen comes in, does a great job with the kickoffs, and then turns around and comes back with the punt. And, what a beautiful – they went ahead and scored from the 2-yard line, but you could have drawn that one up any better if you kicked it out to 2.
No, we're very fortunate to have the 2 kickers we got. Juan has done a phenomenal job all year long. He's still doing a great job kicking our extra points and field goals, and he'll still kick off some. JR kick off some, and then like you said, JR being able to come in and punt, and being able to have a guy that we can tell him where we want the ball punted, and there's a pretty good chance it's going there. And just to be able to have those 2 guys to be able to flip the field on special teams is a very, very big advantage for us.
And kickoff coverage on Friday night was outstanding. We did a great job. The first 2 kickoffs, we kicked deep. I think inside, maybe 19 one time, 17 the other time, and then on a pooch kick, more or less, we was able to get them inside the 25 or something like that. So a great job getting downfield. We have some speedsters on that kickoff coverage team.
We do, and then they do a good job of staying in their lanes and getting to the ball, because if we can pin them deep on kickoff team, we have a lot of confidence in our defense. As long as we don't give up a big play, it's going to be hard for teams to sustain a 75, 80-yard drive. That's hard for any offense, and so that's what we preach on kickoff: pin them deep and get our defense on the field and make them put a long drive together.
Penalties much better the other night than the week before.
Yes, much better. We talked all week about especially this time of year, you've got to be a disciplined football team. And the first round we weren't. And we talked about it all week, and but it's a carryover of what we do every day, whether it's in the classroom, in the field house, on the practice field, in the community. We've got to do things right all the time. If you're sloppy in the other parts of your life, you're going to be sloppy on Friday night. It's going to show up. And so but we had a better week, and it showed on Friday night.
All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our first break, and we'll come back with more of the Morning Huddle here on KATX Sports. And welcome back into a Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Morning Huddle live from First Financial Bank. If you would like to watch a video copy of this interview, you can do so at eastlandcountytoday.com. We'll have it up sometime this afternoon. All right, so eastlandcountytoday.com. Coach, a bunch of games around the area, some surprises, not really any major surprises last week, but Stephenville, we talked about this off the air. The week before it took 66 points to get the win, but a lot of those came in overtime.
Right.
This week it takes 69 points, 129 points total in regulation to dispatch Estacado from Lubbock.
Yeah, that must have been a crazy game, and doesn't look like anybody's slowing down Stephenville's offense right now.
Big Spring avenges an earlier season loss to Andrews. They get to win 48-34.
Right, and Big Spring was struggling defensively, middle of district, and looks like they're playing a lot better defense right now.
Wiley 75, Levelland 21. No surprise there. Graham 41, Seminole 13. Graham hit a couple of rough spots early in the season. They were ranked way up there going into the season. Sort of had a couple losses and knocked it down, but it looks like they've righted that ship and they're back after it again.
Right, and they got a big one this week.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Stephenville versus Big Spring at Shotwell. Will it take 60 points for Stephenville to beat Big Spring?
I'm saying not this time.
Not this time.
They'll find a way to slow them down, and they'll score plenty of points to win.
And, of course, Wiley versus Graham. This is another rematch game that played earlier in the season.
It is, and Graham won a low-scoring game the first time. And if I remember right, Wiley turned it over 5 times that game.
5 turnovers in that one. Hugh Sandifer was talking about that on the news last night. So I think he's been preaching that we can't do that again. Some 4A Division II, not a whole lot of local teams other than Sweetwater. And I guess Sweetwater might be one of the biggest surprises in Big Country. We knew they had a good football team, but to be 12-0 and sit in this situation, I don't think everyone anticipated that.
No, and we saw them on film early in the year from teams they played that we played non-district, and they've got a lot of speed and doing a good job utilizing all that.
And they will take on Vernon Friday at 2 o'clock in Mineral Wells. Vernon 8-4, Sweetwater 12-0. Mustangs roll on?
I would think so.
Breckenridge Muleshoe, we talked about that game last Friday because it was played on Thursday. But Shallow beats Boyd 49-35. Wall beats Brownfield 44-21. Brock beats Denver City 27-26. That sets up Breckenridge and Shallow. They're playing after us at the Mustang Bowl in Sweetwater.
Right, 7:30 after us, and the Breckenridge must be playing good football right now.
Peaking at the right time.
That's exactly right.
Wall Brock, that could be an interesting game. Brock Brock has 1 loss.
Cisco's their only loss.
Yeah, Cisco's their only loss. Wall has 1. Brock has 1. Both teams level 1 at Brownwoods Gordon Wood Stadium. You got to go with the Hawks on this one, I think.
Yeah, and Brock, unbelievable what they've been able to do their first years of varsity football team.
Yeah.
And but I just think there's too much tradition and stuff that's Wall's been successful year in, year out the last, I don't know how many years. And so it's going to be hard for them to go in there and beat Wall.
Spearman, 62, Alpine, 36. Any surprise there?
No, and probably some of those 36 were late. Spearman put it away early.
Cisco, 49, Post 7. No surprise there.
No.
And then I guess a surprise here because a lot of people were taking Idalou in this football game.
Right.
Sonora 35, Idalou 14.
Right. And, I think the surprise was the score. I think, like I said, a lot of people were picking Idalou, but even the people that were picking it close. And Sonora was able to pull it out. It was 14-7 at half. It was 14-7. No, maybe Sonora scored with a few seconds left third quarter, make it 21-7. So it was 21-7 going to fourth. And then they pulled away in the fourth. So it was a tight ball game, but Sonora got after them and got the win.
From what I understand, Idalou was missing a key part of their team. That one of their players has been injured the week before. Have you heard that?
No, I did not hear that.
Okay. That's what I was told, that they were missing a player from the week before. That sets up Spearman versus Cisco at Friendship. All these games Friday at 2 o'clock.
Right.
Evan Wren was not happy about that. He can't be at all these places at the same time. So Spearman versus Cisco, that could be a fantastic football game and a very quick football game possibly.
Yeah, it'll be a good, hard-nosed football game. They're both going to line up and run right at you and play really good defense. And, they played last year, and I don't remember the second or third round. Cisco got the win. And it'll be another good battle again. It'll be close. I think it'll be probably close at halftime, and Cisco will find a way to pull away late in the fourth quarter and get a win. Like you said earlier, they may be on the bus headed home and can stop at Sweetwater.
Well, last year against who was that team that we played from out east that was so good? The Zebras, Grandview. that Cisco played at Comanche that night, and some of their players were in the stands for the end of our football game against Grandview. I mean, they went and played their game, came home, got dressed, and was over in Eastland for the fourth quarter. So Crockett and Clifton. Crockett gets win 48-44 over Clifton. These are some other teams that we could face up against somewhere down the road. Of course, this group here would be where we'd want to face them. Is they're in the opposite bracket from us. Rogers 40, Corrigan Camden 14, Newton 56, Dublin 13. Coach Cerveto's season comes to an end, but what a great year they had.
Yeah, great year for those guys.
Franklin 51, Maypearl 13. I don't think anyone was surprised there. Coach Cavalier and Canadian continue to roll 59-13 over Windthorst.
I don't know if they've had a close game.
I don't think they have.
And they may not again this week.
They have Stratford this week. I guess an upset here of sort is Wellington 20, Stanford 7. Getting Stanford out of there, but Wellington 8-4, and they played a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, that was two former state champions from last year.
So both of them eliminated. Santo and Hamlin, that has I think Hamlin can win that ball game. Winners Albany. Albany wins that game. That sets up a Hamlin-Albany game that could be really, really good.
Yes.
All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Sonora Broncos right here on the Morning Huddle on KATX Sports. And welcome back in for the final segment of the Morning Huddle here live from First Financial Bank. And once again, pizza is here, so come on by and join us for some pizza. Well, you can go ahead. Some of us are enjoying pizza right now, so come on down and join us. Coach, Sonora 35, Huddle 14. We've talked about that game. Sonora's going to come after us. They're going to line up. They have two guys that run the ball well. One extremely well, 1,400 yards plus, 22 touchdowns on the ground.
Yes, the thing they take pride in, they are very, very good up front on both sides of the ball. They're big, physical on the offensive and defensive line, and they want to line up and run the ball right at you. They got their three defensive linemen are back from last year, and they went 3 rounds deep last year and got those guys back. So that's what they're gonna hang their hat on, is lining up, running at you. They got a very good fullback, a very good tailback, and then a quarterback that runs the midline of veer really well. And he's a guy that we've got to be sure we play good assignment defense and do our job. Don't worry about somebody else doing their job. We got to do our job each and every play and be sure we're where we're supposed to be, or that's when they could break a big one. So that's what we got to do defensively.
Their rush pass play selection, last week you said 65-35 with Coleman. What are we looking at here with Sonora?
Well, Coleman ended up throwing the ball a lot more because we got up. So hopefully Sonora throws the ball more than we're expecting, but they're going to run it, I'm going to say 80% of the time. They're not looking to throw the ball very much at all. They're going to line up in the eye. They'll get a little bit of spread, but if they get in spread, a lot of times they're wanting you to get people out of the box so they can run it some more. So not a lot of throwing, but they do have a number 19 receiver that plays safety and plays outside receiver that is a tall kid that will go up and get the ball. So we can't fall asleep in the back end. We got to.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot when we were talking about the Coleman game to bring this up. They're number 23. 3 catches. Our defenders, perfect. I mean, it was textbook coverage, and he goes up 3 different times and comes up with the football.
You talk about attacking the football. That guy attacked the football.
Yeah.
He would go up after the ball, and he was so strong. And like you said, we would get our hand on the ball, and he could still rip it out. He was impressive.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that because, I mean, it was like he did it again.
Yeah.
That was a 4th down play, and they threw it down there. I said, okay, he did it again. Yeah. Defensively, what do we expect from the Broncos?
They're going to play a 5-2, 50 front, and mix it up in the back end. You'll get a little man on the outside. They'll play some zone. But they're going to – what they want to do is get as many people in the box as they can to play the run. And we need to spread them out and try and get some guys out because it's going to be – one thing we've done a good job of the last 2 weeks, offensive line coming off the ball, playing good, being able to establish the run, and that's going to be a key component again this week. Obviously, we're going to throw the ball around a little bit, but we've got to be able to run the football. That's going to be key for us this week. As good as they are up front on both sides of the ball, we've got to be able to find a way to control the line of scrimmage.
All right. You take a look at their record. They're 9-3, and people say, "Oh, they've got 3 losses." But if you look deeper at their record, they lost to Bernie, Denver City, and Wall.
No. Bernie is a 4A Division I team that made the playoffs. Wall's still playing. Denver City got beat out
last week
by Brock by 1 point. And that's the deal that I think a lot of people don't realize. In the preseason, there was a lot of people talking about Sonora. I believe they were top 10 preseason. And then they had those 3 losses in non-district, but they were to 3 really good football teams, and they haven't looked back from there. They had some injuries early in the year also, and now they got everybody healthy, and now they're rolling, and they're the really good football team people were talking about the first of the year. Just people have stopped talking about it. But they
mentioned that Coach Hatton, he and I were visiting early in the season, and he said, one thing about it, whoever finishes second is going to have to face Sonora at some point, and that was before the district started. Now, you look at their district was not a very strong district. I mean, it wasn't. I think TLC, they had a tie for 4th place, a 3-way tie for 3rd and 4th. TLC Academy lost out.
Right. Alpine and Crane and Great Creek, I believe, got in.
Yeah, and I think all of them were like 2 and 3 in district, or maybe 2 of them were 2 and 3 in district. Defensively, they've allowed some points. Coleman was allowing only 8 points per game. We put 38 on them.
Right.
Sonora is averaging, I haven't done the math, but it's substantially more than 8 points a game.
And, some of those points have come later in the games when they've had leads. And the key, I think, for us this week is just like every week in the playoffs. We got to take care of football, but we've got to get off the field when the defense is on the field. What we can't allow happen is them get 3 or 4 yards on first down, 3 or 4 yards on second down, have a 3rd and short, and let them convert and get another first down, and just let that clock run, because that's what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to let the clock run and keep their offense on the field and keep running the ball. And so we've got to make stops on 3rd down and get off the field and get the offense back out there. And our defense has done a great job of that all year, and we've got to just continue that, play smart, physical football. And that's we talked last week about Evan Wren and his article. But anyway, we talk every single week and about being the most physical football team. And that's one thing that I think Sonora hangs their hat on, is being a physical football team. And we've got to go, step up to that challenge and be the most physical football team Friday afternoon.
Evan Wren said this week the most physical Eastland defense he has seen ever.
Well,
so, man, I haven't looked at his picks. Or they come out tomorrow. We'll see. I hope he picks against us again. Hey, let's take a look at the Celebrity Pick'em contest. We're going with David Bailey's here today since he's finally back. Eastland versus Sonora. Who you got, Coach?
I'm going with the Mavericks.
Oh, okay. Cisco versus Spearman.
The Lobos.
Stephenville versus Big Spring.
Stephenville.
Hamlin versus Santo.
Pipers.
David Bailey just went down on that one. He took Santo. Brock versus Wall.
I think it'll be a good ball game, but I think Wall will win.
Heiko versus Crawford.
Crawford.
Graham versus Wiley.
Wiley. That'll be another really good one.
Georgia Tech at Georgia.
Georgia.
Mississippi State at Ole Miss.
Mississippi State.
At Ole Miss, ever since that Ole Miss coach made that bad decision a couple of weeks ago, their wheels have come off their bus. But
they're struggling.
Cowboys at Giants. No. Eagles at Cowboys.
I guess the Cowboys.
It pains you a little bit.
I mean, if they play good, but you just never know.
Never know. But, all right, Coach. Well, good luck to you on Friday. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Morning Huddle. I want to thank my engineer back in the studio, Blakeney Hodges. Great job. She does a wonderful job running the board, not so much on her pickup sheets. But, and thank you for your time. This time for next time, I'm Terry Slavens. Have a fabulous Thanksgiving, everyone.